Hello, family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie. Today, we'll be discussing wing prospects. Who's the wing prospect that I believe the Knicks should be targeting in the 2022 NBA draft? I'm interested to see who the panelists would pick. I'm interested to see who you, the viewer, and those in the chat will pick. But before we get to that, don't forget about our second annual NBK draft party. Give you a little backdrop.
Second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now.
I will be there if you were at the first annual draft party or even watched it live. I don't know if you got the sense of it watching it live, but there it was just amazing. So I'll be there. Tony Crow will be there. Sam, obviously the creator of the channel, will be there. DJ Shuttle will be there as well. Hopefully I can meet you guys. We see you in the chat, but it's very different than being live. So whenever we've had live events, it's been extremely fun. This should be no different. And I think this is going to be even better. So welcome in. Tony Crow, Stafford Don. We're taking calls today as well. Fellas, how are you?
Peace, Queen. You muted, Stafford.
I'm blessed. Can't complain, man. What's good, TC? Queen as usual. Now, give thanks, blessings. You already know. Let's get it in.
That's right. Peace, King.
Yeah. Well, the NBA draft is June 23rd. The Knicks have the 11th pick. Any thoughts on just where the Knicks have picked before we get into actual wing prospects?
You mean actually selecting 11th?
Selecting 11th, yeah. Were you disappointed? Are you okay with it? Do you feel like we can get a good player no matter where we pick?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to stop saying we're going to move up. This is the next year. We deserve it. It's been like from now on, I'm just going to rock with wherever we go. I was extremely disappointed. But I think there's a plethora of prospects, in that range that can be of value to us. So, we'll live with it.
Okay, Stafford.
Yeah, I'm the same too. I live with the 11th pick right now. It is what it is. And I think we could get something good out of it. Nice little role player.
Okay. What do you make of the Knicks interviewing wing players? Are you okay with the Knicks drafting a wing, given who we have, Cam, Grimes, RJ, and if they're still here, Fournier and Burks?
You could never have enough wings. So the stars that's in the league right now are mostly wings. So we can't depend on RJ alone to defend all the wings that's in the league right now. The Kevin Durant's, the who else is there? The Tatums,
Jalen Browns.
Doncic. So you can't, have RJ guarding all these dynamic players all the time. So you never enough wings, So that is a good thing to me.
Right.
Yeah, I have no problem with it either. Excuse the music in the back if you hear it. What I liked about these prospects, without giving anything away, the prospects that we talk about is even though they're wings, I think a lot of them bring a different dynamic than the players that we have. So they could still be of use. And Queen, as you always know, when a guy could play multiple positions,
Absolutely.
that's always a plus for me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There was a question I have. Listen, things are going to change. Draft prospects fly up and down the draft board all the time. Like the players we're going to talk about today, who I think may be in range when the Knicks pick, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, they very well may not be. I looked at about 15 mock drafts between May 17th and May 22nd. Today's the 23rd, 24th, 25th. We may be talking about a whole set of, different wing players. But anyway, let's get to the first one. I like. Dyson Daniels, he's been marked a lot as a shooting guard. I've seen a few places marked him also, have him as a point guard, put it that way. His coach believes he's a point guard. And has played him at that position. But when you see him a lot, I see a lot of shooting guard. At the very least, he can play both and give some good minutes at the point guard position. Play for G League Ignite, 6'7", 200 pounds. And his lone season, 11.3 points, 4.4 assists, basically 6 rebounds, shot 45% from the floor, only 25.5% from three, 73.7% from the free throw line. His draft range was 8 to 21. I don't think he's going to last to 21. I think he's rising up the draft boards pretty fast, especially given his performance at the combine in Chicago. And his strength, size. Obviously, he's a pass. When he does play point, he's pass first. Good ball handler, playmaking, good court vision, can play and defend 1 through 3. Good defender on and off the ball, good rebounder, good feel for the game. I think we need that on the Knicks. People who understand the game, have good basketball IQ, passes ahead in transition, and has a little post-up game, right? He can post up smaller defenders. Obviously, he needs to improve his three-point shooting. Doesn't get to the line a lot. Not very explosive, and needs to really get better at creating his own shots. Any thoughts on Dyson Daniels from the research you've done? Do you like him for the Knicks? Do you think he's a fit?
He's my number one guy on my big board right now.
Okay.
But that's with me projecting certain guys not to be there, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, as far as like the guys that I think have a good chance of being there, he's high on my list. I think he could play 1, 2, or 3. It recently came out that he grew an inch, so I believe they list him at 6'8" now, which is even better for him to move to that 3 spot when need be. The point guard skills, whether he's running the point or not, I think he could be utilized in that aspect to make good plays, right decision, and good reads. So I like him. I love the fact that he's a international prospect, but got to play with the G League, where guys are hungry, fighting for their NBA careers and things of that nature. Played against some guys with NBA experience already. Good size and defense. I think that's a staple that we've been missing. So defense and playmaking, and I'm not that down on his shot. I think that shot could turn around. So number one guy on my big board right now.
He's not the number one guy on my board, but he's moving up fast. He's moving up fast. I just really like him. And remember, we talked about Giddey coming out of last year's draft, couldn't shoot. Lonzo Ball, his shot mechanics, and whether or not he'll be a good shooter. If he reaches his ceiling, if he does become a good shooter, he's going to approach his ceiling. I think he would be great for the Knicks. Staff, are you familiar with him?
At this moment, yes. One thing that I'm really, 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 really impressed with him is his defense. Did you see how many block shots did he have?
Almost
in his game?
Almost 1 block a game, but almost 2 steals a game.
Yes. So that is one of the most impressive things for me with him. Now, as far as his offense, I think he could get a little better with his shot. His size is good. His length is good. I know he, as TC said, he has some experience in the G League playing against NBA players. So I think he's ready. He's not in my top 5, but I'll say about probably like 6 to 10, maybe.
Would you be disappointed if the Knicks drafted him?
No, because we actually need a point guard, and he could run point. They list him as a combo guard, so I believe he could he could run the point for us and play exquisite defense that Tom Thibodeau likes. So when they try to switch, it's going to be hard, and he's a hard-nosed defender. So that's one of the most intriguing things that I like about him. Just his defense is just A+. It's just hard for them to get around him. He takes away the rim. He defends the pick and roll real good. He fights over the screens. So I mean, look, there's only upside for this kid. So I wouldn't mind if they did draft him.
Okay. Do you see him in the next 4 weeks rising up draft boards and maybe not even being within range? Do you think he has that possibility, or do you think he's somebody that should definitely be around that area?
Yeah, he's going to definitely be around that area, because I think the first 5 is already set in stone to me, right? The first 5 is set in stone. Otherwise, the rest, you have the Hardys, the Jalen Duran, you have the Ben Mathurins, the Johnny Davis. Who else could be a surprise?
AJ Griffin.
AJ Griffin.
Who we'll talk about today as well.
Right. All of those guys, so you never know. You never know.
Yeah. Tony, why are you a big fan? What is that? See, Uncle Fulio said you're not allowed to answer this question because you're biased. Is he a family member or something? You did say you found out you had this.
No, he's not a family member. I stumbled upon him, just doing my due diligence, and the more I watched, the more I liked, and I caught a couple of G League games this year. And between him and Hardy, I don't know. He stood out a little bit more as far as a team guy. He's gonna fit in. You know what I mean? He's somewhat of a safe pick, but he fits a bunch of different needs. Stafford talked about the switchability. I think that's a valuable commodity in the NBA where you don't have to. He's not going to be a liability on the defensive end. So, and again, I believe in his shot, even though he didn't shoot well. It didn't look bad. You know what I mean? His shot looked good. Mechanics look good. Same form every time. I'm a fan of his journey. So coming from Australia and kind of having to make his way, to the States and get through that adjustment, the unconventional route. You know what I mean? I think that took some guts. I think he's going to be a lot hungrier than some of the guys projected up above him.
Right. I like that he has a high floor. I mean, if he doesn't develop, even if he doesn't develop the jump shot, and I agree with you, the form is there, it's consistent. It's not like it's broken. So I think he'll be okay in that regard. But even if not, he can defend 1 through 3. He's pesky. 2 steals a game, almost a block a game, 0.8 blocks a game. You screen him off, he gets right back in. He plays himself right back in, into the play. And he's what I like to call skinny strong. He's wiry, he's strong, he's not very athletic, but he's solid, and he has a good feel.
No, but I mean, when you say athletic, I've seen some dunks where he steal the ball and went up with 2 hands and finish it. So
right. I mean, not explosive, but yeah.
Explosive, but yeah. So he got a little hops. He could get up there.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a deal breaker for me at all. I've seen enough of the NBA, the players without explosiveness, players that are not very athletic, with their ball handling and their craftiness, be able to get to their spots and get their shots. So it's definitely not a deal breaker for me. But if you can do that and you're athletic, it's definitely a plus, right? It's definitely a plus. I would be very happy if Dyson Daniels fell to us at 11. But I was reading a few articles today, just seeing if anything changed. The way he performed in the combine, he's moving up the draft boards, and I don't think he's going to be there Remember last year Duarte was marked in the 20s when the draft started, and he got drafted at 13. The same thing, you know, he went to New Orleans. I forgot his name.
The third,
Out of
something the
Virginia.
third.
Yeah, he's another one. So these things are fluid. They change.
Was it Trey Murphy?
Yes,
Trey Murphy the
Trey
third.
That was
Murphy.
that was your guy too. That was your
Yeah.
guy last year. I remember.
Yeah, I liked him. I like Duarte better, but he was my guy as well. Um,
I like them
and
too.
yeah, I like Dyson Daniels. Yeah, no doubt
And
about
and,
it.
and Queen, back to like what we was just talking about on Knicks and Bruises, and guys stepping up to the challenge and not ducking competition. He could have easily not went to the combine or
Right,
not participated in the scrimmage.
right.
And look what he did. He went there, competed, and he's moving up boards. That's the kind of guys that I respect and I like, that want to prove who they are, and not scared to hurt their draft stock, but believe in themselves enough to improve it.
Yeah,
Right.
no doubt about it. The phone lines is open. You know, if you want to call in and give your opinion on Dyson Daniels or even any of the other draft prospects that we're going to talk about, please do so. I'm only going over 4. If there's somebody here that you don't agree with, or you have somebody else who you think will be in range for the Knicks at 11, maybe even a better prospect, call in. Um, Let us know. But Dyson is growing on me. Next, AJ Griffin, shooting guard out of Duke, 6'7", 222 pounds. In his lone season at Duke, averaged 10.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, 1 assist, shot 49.3% from the field, 44.7% from three, 79.2% from the free throw line. Again, out of the mocked drafts that I reviewed, his draft range was 6 to 12. His strengths are he's an efficient shooter, good spot up 3-point shooter. He's shown flashes of being able to create his own shot. He's long, he's physical, he finishes through contact. Good feel for the game as well. Good defensive tools, but not a great defensive player at this point in his development, both on and off the ball. As far as improvement areas are concerned, he has a low shot release, a very wide base. If you've seen him when he shoots a shot, his legs are kind of spread pretty far apart. He needs to improve in terms of creating his own shot. He has defensive lapses. He's somewhat slow guarding in space because of the lateral quickness. There's some concerns about his quickness, his speed, his explosiveness, and obviously his injury history. I believe he missed a lot of games his junior year with a knee injury and missed his entire senior season, if I'm correct, with an ankle injury. He didn't start for Duke um, probably until sometime in January. I think they wanted to bring him along slowly. Um, I like him. I don't have questions. I mean, his quickness and speed is not a concern for me because, like I said, I've seen players not very quick, not very fast, be able to get to their spots. But the injury history does give me a little pause. Um, but yeah, your thoughts on AJ Griffin?
The messed up thing about with him is I feel like his injuries are the reasons for his defensive lapses. Prior to the injuries, he was known as a defender. The great thing is sharpshooter, marksman. Um,
And we
that's
need that.
yeah, like he has a legit skill that is not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? So even if he doesn't have the high ceiling, he has a very high floor. I think he could come in and contribute immediately. Um, Pedigree, father, former NBA player, I believe assistant
Right.
coach on the Raptors. So he's actually worked out with the Raptors. You know what I mean? I remember reading about it last year. Him actually at the practice facility, getting some run with some of the NBA guys. So not only do you have the coach, father as a coach, but father coaching in the league, and then also get the experience of picking the brains of some NBA players. So I think that's the biggest jump for him. Like I
Mhm.
said, the ceiling's not super high, but the floor is high in my opinion. I wouldn't be mad with him. I'm interested to see because I thought he was projected higher, so I don't know if his stock is dropping or or what? You know what I mean? Early in the couple months ago, he wasn't projected in our range. So it's
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, things are changing. I think also what's affecting the mock drafts is prior to the lottery, they're probably just basing it on talent. And then now, when they know where teams are going to pick, fit is also part of it as well. But from what I've seen, six to 12, right within the Knicks range. I'm okay. I'm okay with AJ Griffin. If he didn't have that injury history, I would be great. I like his shooting. And I have to look at somebody said in the chat, 40, 50% from the field on how many shots per game, 44.7% three-pointers on how many shots a game. And if I get an opportunity, I'll look it up. But I think that's what he did most was shooting the three-point shot, spotting up, getting the pass, shooting the three-point shot off the catch. Listen, you take away our bigs, our wing shot 39, 40, 41%. Now, I don't know if he's going to come in and shoot 50% from the field as a rookie, but that lets you know that he does have a good stroke.
Yeah,
Any other thoughts on
I
AJ
think
Griffin?
85. I think 85% of his shots were outside the paint. So
Yeah.
I mean, that tells a lot about, and that may be a concern too. Like, can he get to the rim? But again, shooters, they have a mark in this league. They you know what I mean. They have careers. They get paid occasionally. So there's a spot for them anywhere on the league. I think he's a guy that could kind of get drafted by any team and fill a role.
But also, if he recaptures some of his athleticism, I think that's the concern now. Is this who he's going to be, as far as the injuries are concerned, or is he still in the healing process, so to speak, still, in that range where he can recapture some of his athleticism? And I think if he does, that bodes well for whoever draft him. If he learns how to create a shot, in addition to shooting well from the field, in addition from being a good three-point shooter, that also raises his ceiling as well. So I kind of think he'll be there in that range for the Knicks. But it's hard to tell. Like I said, things change quickly when we're 4 weeks away from the draft. Any thoughts, Staffer?
Um, well, the impressive thing with me, I love his 3-point shot. Um, he has a wicked crossover step back. Speaking about getting to the rim, I do think he could get to the rim. I see he has a little crossover he could go. Sometimes he'll give you the floater, or he gets to the rim and gives a layup. So, I think he could create his own shot, but it's an upside to it. So, he's still learning that, but I do think he could do that. He could shoot the mid range too. He could pull up on the mid range. So I'm very, very impressed with that. Overall, I mean, they say he has defensive lapses. I'm not too familiar with him in high school. As what Tony was saying. But if that's the case due to his injuries, I think he could get over it because some of the highlights that I watched on him, he was very explosive, getting to the rim, doing the pull-up, step back three. So I do think there's a fit for him on the Knicks if we do draft him, because you have two dominant ball players as far as RJ and Randall. And once they drive in and they kick, he's there to just, that quick release, that 3-point shot that we need, So if it's not him, it might be Fournier. So, good to have two nice snipers on the outside. I like his shot. But look, if he could come in and help the team right away, I'm with it. So, and I kind of trust what's this guy name that we had got from Utah? What's his name, Tony? The scout.
Perrin.
Parent. So, I kind of I trust Perrin with his judgment, whoever they pick. So I know he's gonna have a hand in that. So it is what it is. You muted, Queen.
What's his fit with the Knicks? Like, do you think he fits? Do you think he'll get time next season? Do you think he's at this point can take any minutes away from wings we already have? Or do you think he would be somebody? And we you can answer these questions for Daniels as well. Do you think he's somebody that would just be the 11th and 12th guy?
I think.
Go ahead, TC. Go ahead.
Well, one of my concerns is, as much how much I love guys who could play multiple positions. I don't know if that's him. I think he's kind of pigeonholed into that 3 spot. Can he find a niche there in a role? Absolutely. But when I look at the guys we have on the team already, obviously we don't know what he's gonna shoot in the league. And Cam's not shooting 45% from 3 right now. But when I look at him and Cam and kind of do that kind of comparison of who do I think would beat who out, I think Cam has so much more in his arsenal. And he has that defense. I think it's going to be hard for him to jump Cam. Grimes, same kind of thing. Grimes, he shoots well, as does Griffin, but Grimes has that defense already. Surprisingly, but he showed it, right out the back. What kind of got him his minutes to start. So I think he's gonna, as great as he is as a shooter, I think worst case scenario he'll be in not the Tibbs situational role, but the traditional situational role of the league where we got a marksman on the bench. We'll use him in late game situation. We need a 3. Those type of situations as opposed to just being a definitive rotation guy.
I mean, what I'll say to that is he's not a finished product, as most of our young guys aren't as well, but he has good defensive tools. And so when you get with a coach that's going to hold you accountable for your defense, who knows? He may round into shape defensively pretty quickly. I believe he has a 7-foot wingspan. Can somebody double check that for me?
It's correct. Yes,
Yeah.
7 foot.
Yeah. So he's long and he's strong as well. The only thing I'll say about players that make it and players that don't, it's not always talent for talent. Like if you look at skill level, I agree with you. Cam Reddish's skill set is probably more advanced than AJ Griffin. But we're talking about somebody who's doing a lot of things okay, and somebody like AJ Griffin who may be doing one thing very well, and then if he adds the defense with it as well, there's some concerns about Cam's motor. I'm not saying it's true or not. I haven't watched Cam play that often. There's no concern about AJ Griffin's motor as well. And I think being a dog helps, being a dog helps. So I agree. I think if we bring in any wing prospect, it's going to be a battle. Um, I don't know. AJ Griffin might be able to beat out Grimes. I don't know. He's just as good a shooter. He's taller. He's 6'7". If he comes in and he's playing really good defense on and off the ball, who knows? So it's going to be interesting in camp if they bring in a if they bring in a wing. It's going to be interesting.
When I was watching the highlights
if he could guard
sorry,
some twos, if he could guard some twos and kind of play the 2 from a spot up position as opposed to the 2 as a creator, like he has a little bit of that in him, but I'm saying right with his strengths. And now we got a 6'7" 2 guard, you know what I mean? And 6'7" 3 in RJ, that that would be very, very interesting. But then it also jumps back to that mobility and then switchability.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With the lack of lateral quickness, it may be hard for him to do the switching. I wish we played some zone. I think if I think that's an idea where I think he could really find a niche on this team if we was a team that utilized the zone.
Would you compare him to a Desmond Bain?
It's so hard to, because Desmond is doing it in the NBA. AJ Griffin doing
I
it in
mean,
college.
I'm
I
watching
mean,
his highlights, and that's what they saying they comparing him to. So.
Desmond Bain.
Hmm.
I think it's fair.
I like Desmond Bain. I do like Desmond Bain. Anything
He
else
got
on?
that same shot release. No, he's. I mean, he's solid, man. Regardless
Yeah.
if we get him or not, I think he's solid.
I'm not opposed to him. Let me ask you, Queen, before you go to the next person,
Mhm.
if Dyson and Griffin are on the board, who would be your preference out of those two?
Mine would be Dyson. And what I like about him is that he could play that point guard position. Now sure, playing shooting guard and small forward, that's versatility. But being able to play point guard and shooting guard, that's a different type of versatility, especially at a position of need
Yep.
for us. And as much as I don't mind quickly starting at the point guard position for us, he already comes with the vision and the playmaking. Not as good a shooter as quickly by any stretch, but he already comes with the playmaking and the vision. That's just natural. He's been playing that way for a very long time.
And down the line, or even if Quickly ends up playing the one, I would love to see him next to Quickly as a tall guard. You know what I mean? Who can also
Mm-hmm.
facilitate and take care of some of those duties. But now, with Quickly's improved defense, and now you
Mm-hmm.
put a defender at the two who can also facilitate and play make. So kind of they could share those duties together at times.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the second unit or down the line years to come if they end up being starters.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the hard. I don't envy anybody in the front office trying to make these picks and look at guys who've played 1 year in college and try to figure out whether they'll be starters in this league, whether they'll be stars in this league. That's a tough job. All right. Johnny Davis, shooting guard out of Wisconsin, 6'5", 222 pounds, averaged 19.7 points, 8.2 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 42.7% from the field, 30.6% from three, 79% from the free throw line. Draft range 6 to 14. I'm not sure if he'll rise more than that, but it's possible the lower end. He might be like 6 to 11, 6 to 12. Strengths, very good mid-range shooter, plays downhill, two-way player, a potential three-level scorer. Obviously, he'd have to get his three-point shooting up. Very good defender that works to get back into the play when screened off. He has a soft touch and also tough as well. As far as improvement areas of concern, he has to get his three-point shooting up, right? 30%. Ball handling has to get better. He can create a shot now, but I think as his ball handling gets better, it'll allow him to create a shot against tougher, taller, quicker players in the NBA. His playmaking is okay. It's an area of concern, but that wasn't his role. He had a high usage rate at Wisconsin. They was looking at him to score the ball. Um, okay athleticism, I think above average athleticism, below the rim finishing, which is fine. Like I don't have a problem. Just finish. Whether you finishing with a dunk or you finishing with a layup, just finish. Any thoughts on Johnny Day? I'll just say real quick, I really like him. I don't want to say he's mechanical. I don't want to say that, because he's not. I guess he just moves efficiently. It's not a lot of wiggle and jiggle in his game. He's just gonna get to where he's gonna
He's
go and
stiff.
pull up for the shot. You would you say stiff? Uh, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Any thoughts?
and he's the guy I've seen the most of out of all, like as far as college games.
Mhm.
It just seemed like anytime I threw on a college game, it was his team playing, and I didn't know who he was prior to, so I got to look at him um with
Mhm.
no bias, you know what I mean, like an open mind, and he definitely caught my attention. What I really like about him is two things. Other teams game planned for him come middle of the season to the end
Right,
of the season to the tournament. He's a gamer. He finds a way to get the ball in the basket. I'm not afraid of that 3-point percentage. I think he's another one whose shot is not broken. I think the
right,
difference was the team's game planned against him. He had to take a lot of difficult shots. But at the same time, I've seen him go 1 for 9 in the first half and still end up with 25 points in the game. I've
mhm,
seen him not have a particularly good game, first half, and then carry the team on his back down
mhm.
the stretch and end up with like 16. When he might have had 3 points midway through the second half. He's a gamer. He's a baller. Another coach's son. I think there's value in that. Um, and you know me, Queen. When I first started watching him, I was like, I wonder if this guy could play the point. If he could play the point, that's gonna be a game changer for us, especially at 6'5". And I like to do my little comparisons with guys that are currently on the team. I think he is a guy that can beat Grimes out. As far as in the rotation, so jump
Mhm.
ahead of somebody. And it's nothing against Grimes. I like Grimes, but I think this guy has a lot more to his arsenal, and
Mhm.
then also, it is a solid to good defender.
Yeah, I will say this, but I think Davis separates himself. Both of them play pretty good defense. Davis is more a mid-range shooter, drive to the basket. Grimes is a better 3-point shooter. But to your point with Davis, he's a tough guy. I'm not saying Grimes is tough as well, but he's been in a position of having to carry his team. Now, I don't remember when Grimes was at Houston if he was in that position as well of having to carry his team. I think they went to the Final Four though. I don't know if it was just him though. But I agree. I think Davis shows a little more. Um, but he would need to fix that 3-point shooting if he's going to approach his ceiling. Your thoughts, Staffer?
I agree too. The 3-point shooting is definitely a concern for me. His ball handling. A lot of times he tried to drive to the hole. They still stole the ball from him. So definitely gotta uh, get better handling on that. Um, and his decision making, not his decision, but his shot selection sometimes would be off. So if he could make the right decisions at some times,
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with him. Tony, to your point too, I think he is a gamer. They did plan for him a lot of the times, because I was hard on him. Tell you the truth, in the tournament, I you know I, my I kind of just like, man, even though he's a gamer, I think you know he he didn't bring it when I think he was supposed to bring it. So that kind of let me down a little bit. But at the same time, I do think is more to his game. Um, like last night, I think I was watching TV and all of a sudden he popped up on a Taco Bell commercial. I'm like, he's not even drafted yet, man. He's having commercials already. So, I mean, well, I don't know. As you say, coach's son, I don't know. It might be something to him, you know. So, I I don't mind if we draft him. You know, look, we need good role players, solid role players, and I think he could come in and be a good solid role players. But that ball handling, if he going to handle the ball, it needs to improve. And
Right.
his 3-point
I,
shot.
I'm telling you, I am not concerned. It like just watching as many games as I've seen with him, I would have never guessed his 3-point shot was 30%. If I had to guess, I would have guessed closer to 40 for sure. But you know why? It's because he made big threes. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the threes he made, they needed them at the time, or it closed out a game and made the game out of reach. Like so that's another thing. Like he may shoot 30%, but when that game is on the line or when you need that big shot, you know what I mean? Like that those were the ones that seemed like he made time after time after time.
Yeah, but
And
that's the thing about it, TC. He didn't do that in the
and,
NWC,
and then
and that's
I
what
was gonna
killed
get
me.
there. I agree with you. He had a bad game that last game. It's one and done, so it only takes one game for you know what I mean for you to be out that tournament.
Right,
Um,
right.
but you can't judge him off that one game, especially with the performances he's put on leading to that one game. So I give it to you. He definitely had a bad game that last game. It was disappointing, but you got to look at the whole picture. I think to fully judge him, and I don't know. I think there's something crafty about that guy.
No,
I
well,
got
that's
I
why I
got
say I
I
have to
got him.
push back
I
a
got
little
him.
bit,
I
and
got him
really look
top.
at the season too.
I got him top 2 or top 3 for me. It's he was my first like number one choice until I
Mm.
ran into Dyson. Um, but he'll probably be my second choice. Um, out of the 3 guys we had so far.
So far. Well, I agree with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. Appreciate you for stopping by. I agree that he may have the highest floor. I don't think he has the highest ceiling, though. This is the guy who I think has the highest ceiling of the 4 guys that will be discussing tonight, and that's Bennedict Mathurin, shooting guard, small forward out of Arizona, 6'7", 195 pounds, average 17.7 points, 5.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 45% from the field, 36.9% from three, 76.4% from the free throw line. Draft range 6 to 11 and climbing fast. I doubt he'll be available for the Knicks at 11. Strengths, high ceiling guy. And when you listen to the draft pundits, you read about him, they feel like his ceiling is as high as anybody else in this draft. There are some draft scouts that are very high on him. Very good spot up shooter, slasher with good burst and first step, good cutter. So he plays well without the ball. Willing defender with good defensive tools, clutch, athletic, improvement areas, creating off the dribble, on and off the ball defense, and settles for too many jumpers and has to improve his playmaking. Again, when I looked at the draft boards, I looked at them from May 17th to May 22nd. By the time I got to May 22nd, the drafts that were done, the mock drafts that was done on May 22nd, he was out of
Totally
the
different.
Knicks. Yeah, he was out of the Knicks range.
Hmm.
I like him. If he's here at 11, if both Bennedict Mathurin and Johnny Davis was there at 11, I would take Mathurin,
I'm
right?
taking him too.
I would take him. But I'm interested in your thoughts. I'm interested in Uncle Fulio's thoughts, and I'm interested in the chat's thoughts on Bennedict Mathurin.
Well, can I go first?
Yeah.
This is the guy. He is on my number one big board. This is the guy. I've been raving about him from since before the tournament. I like this guy. Everything about his strengths: high ceiling, good spot up shooter, slasher, good cutter. one of the most impressive highlights of the tournament was his dunk on dude. You know what I mean? Just straight up. You know, and another highlight was, you know, when you say clutch, he came through in that clutch 3-pointer for them to win that game. So, you know, I've been admiring this kid. I know I doubted that we might get him at 11, but I like this kid. Everything about this kid, man. He plays shooting guard, small forward, willing defender. He could defend very up nose. You know what I mean? He could be a potential all-star. It's just everything in this kid that I like, you know? So yeah, man, I just wish we could get him, yo. He's number one for me.
I've seen him mocked as high as 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen him actually at 4. I've seen him, you know, Sacramento taking him at 4 over Ivy. I've seen some mock drafts like that.
That's interesting.
Josh is taking Davis over Mathurin.
I honestly think I am too, but I'll be honest, I haven't. I'm still in my deep dive, learning about him.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Everything I do see, as far as or everything I've read is great. I am worried about the defense, and a lot of it is, you know, they say it's like defensive lapses. He has the ability, you know what I
Right.
mean. He's just not giving the effort all the time. So, you know, maybe that's what's throwing me off from him. But offensively, I think no flaws really. You know what I mean? Like I've read nothing but great things. Like he might be a guy that could take over a game at times and things of that nature. But I don't. I'm torn if I would take him over Davis. Part of it is just because I've seen so much of Davis, though.
Right.
To be honest,
Right. I mean, for
Well,
me, I
I
think
guess
he
it's just you
brings.
and Uncle Fulio.
I think.
Sorry, Queen. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's no. It's totally fine. I think for me, he brings everything Davis brings, and he has a higher ceiling, and he's more athletic. And for me, I'm not big on athletic. Like to me, it's a separating factor. I don't care if you play, you're not tough, and you don't have skills. But if I've got 2 guys and they're both skilled and they both can hit the 3 and they both can score and they both can play defense, yeah, I'll definitely take the athletic guy, you know, over the guy who's not as athletic. I'm not mad at Davis. Um, but if Mathurin is on the board, and I don't think he will be, um, I'm taking him. You know, he has a mid-range shot as well. He goes to the basket as well. He shoots the 3 better than Davis as well. And I get it as far as the defense, but he has the defensive tools. You have a coach that's going to hold you accountable. You're going to play. Yes.
with both those guys being so close.
One is 6'5" and one is 6'7" also.
Good point. And that 2-3 range where Johnny is probably projected more at strictly 2, you know, unless that ball handling improves, then he can move to the 1. So, who do you think chemistry wise, who do you think looks like they would fit better on the team?
I think the 2 Canadian guys will do well. RJ and Ben, you know, dynamic Canadian backcourt. You can't go wrong with that. You know, so I think he'll be an excellent fit. Should be.
Yeah. Josh, I'm just going by what I'm hearing, listening to those in the draft, you know, those who study them. I'm just doing my deep dive, but when I read the articles and I listen to, like for example, I listened to a Detroit podcast. They didn't even mention Davis. They mentioned Mathurin at the 5 spot. So a lot of people have Mathurin marked ahead of Davis because they believe he has a higher ceiling, but we don't know. I mean, we don't know. This is all projection, you
For
know?
real.
They're both two-way players. They both have the opportunity to be three-level scorers.
What year is he?
He played 2 years, sophomore.
Sophomore too.
Yeah, he played sophomore year.
Did he make a drastic improvement from year one to year two, like Davis? Because I think that's another thing that I read. Like both these guys made drastic improvements, you know, from freshman year to sophomore year. I think it's a toss up, to be honest. I'm not mad either way. I do like what you said about the athleticism.
As a defining factor, not just because he's athletic. A differing
that's
factor,
what I mean. With everything
Separating.
being so close, yeah, it's a separating factor.
Introducing.
And then it really boils down to, do you believe in his defense? You know, do you believe that he could end up being a capable defender? If he's a
Right.
capable defender, I think he's a future All-Star. You know what I mean? Where I think Davis can be an All-Star, but I think he has the potential to be a perennial. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm with you.
So I think I'm leaning towards Mathurin over Davis right now. But somebody else is gonna have to pick up that defensive slack if he can't do it.
No, but Tony, guess what though? With Tom there, and if he's there too, I think Tom gonna instill that defensive awareness around him and make him better. You know, son, Tom is a defensive guy, so with that long wingspan, he's 6'7", bro. So, I think with that advantage right there, it's gonna be hard for people to switch on us too. Look, man, that's my guy, yo. That's number one for me, man. I can't stop gloating on him, yo. He, Tony, we gotta sprinkle it on you, boy. Ben.
But we gotta do. I'm gonna do more of a deep dive as well. But from what I've seen, I really liked him, and from what I've heard, I really like him. And I agree with you, Josh. He's not gonna be there. I would be shocked if he's there for the Knicks at 11. That's how much he's racing up the draft boards.
I was gonna say, well, how about some misdirection, and we start calling for somebody else so he's there. Because our luck. Anytime we fall in love with somebody, they getting picked a pick or two before us.
Right.
Of course, already.
Who's Ben, Sam? Ben said in 5 years he will be the best player in the draft. I've heard that as well.
Mathurin said that.
No, him. He said it himself.
Ben himself. Oh,
yeah.
Or a draft.
No, Ben said that. Ben said that.
Yeah, building blocks. This is all mute. Mathurin is not dropping to 11. If New York wants him, they're going to have to go up and get him, which I don't think will happen. I can see New York just sitting at 11 and taking their guy. Because this is the thing. Is he that much of a sure thing that you're going to give up an asset to move up to get him when AJ Griffin may be there, when Johnny Davis may be there, when Dyson Daniels, I don't think is going to be there either. Yeah, I mean, these are the Stafford would trade an asset to go and get him.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. But what I was about to say, what I was about to say is, if he goes top 5, that means somebody's dropping, either Keegan Murray or Chet Holmes, whatever his name is.
Chet is not dropping. But I'll tell you this: if he ain't picked by like 6, now I'm on the phone. Like, all right, what do we need to do to swap with the next pick up to grab this guy?
Because you got the Ivy kid, you got Jabari, you got Banchero. That's like the top 3 right there. Then you're talking about Keegan Murray and Ben at number 5.
This is the thing. This is when players are going to drop. If Durant goes up, Sohan, Well, if they're drafted before the Knicks, if Sohan is drafted before the Knicks, Mark Williams is drafted before the Knicks get on the board, Duran out of Memphis, if those three guys are drafted, you know a wing is falling.
Right.
You know a
But
wing.
in my opinion, I do I really see in the first 6, 7, or even top 10 somebody picking a center besides Portland, who I think he might go to, Duran might go to.
San
Charlotte,
Antonio,
And
Charlotte, and San Antonio.
yeah, where is Charlotte picking?
Is Charlotte right before us or after? I think they might be
right after. Right after.
Yeah, so yeah, Charlotte might pick him after us, the Williams kid, because I know Duran gonna go first. Yeah, it's you know.
Did you have another?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Charlotte is 13.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Two behind us. Did you have another guy on your
No, I was gonna ask if there was anyone you guys wanted to discuss, anybody in the chat that you wanted to discuss, and then also, do you think they're better than any of these players that we just reviewed?
Hold on, TC. But Queen, did you have a sleeper or something like that TC was mentioning about?
I did have a sleeper, Abaji.
and that's who I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was the sleeper pick. Right now, he's being mocked to go
late.
Yeah, late. But again, things change. So by the next round of mock drafts, Mathurin might be up in the top 7 and Abaji may move up, you know? Yeah. And anybody else? Don't forget about Shaden Sharp. Yeah, I just tried to stick with those who I thought would be available to the Knicks at 11.
Yeah, Shaden Sharp might be in the top 10.
He might be in the top 10, but I hear what you're saying, Dwayne Dennis, about him dropping. The thing about it is you're going on his workouts, you're going on his high school tape. He didn't play college basketball. So, you know, some guy, you know, maybe some front offices may get scared off by that and he drops. I doubt it. But let me ask the panel then, with the questions around Shaden Sharp, if he dropped to 11, would you draft him? Just based on his skill set alone. Okay.
Yep. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's technically not even supposed to be in the league yet. So you're getting him a year early. You know what I mean? I know the chat don't like to hear it, but again, now you talk about a guy you could really develop over time. You know what I mean? Like if he has to spend a year in the G League and come up occasionally, I have no problem with that. As long as you're building him to reach his full potential, I don't have a problem with it. But that's me understanding that he may not be ready immediately. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people won't want to go that route. As far as Ojale, he's a guy I would really consider moving down for. If I could get an asset and still get this guy, proven winner, 4-year player, Tibbs guy. I mean, there's really not much to not like about this guy. I jump on. I consider that as well. I'm really high on him. I just wouldn't grab him at 11 per se. Especially knowing that he might be in the middle of the first round somewhere. You muted, Queen.
All right, so he's climbing the draft board. So let me see. 1, 2. I looked at 16 mock drafts. They had him mocked anywhere from 8 to 22. But take away the 8. Take away the one had him mocked at 8, one had him mocked at 22. You take those away, he was mocked in about 13 of these drafts between 10 and 15.
Wow.
Which is right in the Knicks,
there, yeah.
the lower range of Knicks, 10 to 15. So, if these other guys go up the draft board, he might. He might. He averaged 18.9 points, 5.1 rebounds, 1.6 assists, shot 47.5% from the field, 41% from three, 74.3% from the free throw line. And he's a very good defender as well. Right. So as Griffin has been marked high. As Griffin moves up, as Dyson moves up, some of these guys that's marked lower, they're going to move up into the Knicks range as well.
Duval.
You know who this kid shot reminds me of? What's that kid in Houston name? The young rookie.
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green.
Oh my God, the explosiveness! I'm just watching his highlights right now because I never seen him. This guy is crazy. His hops, my goodness, his first steps, his athleticism, the way he could just change directions with his arms, his length, he could get to the rim. Yo, I see why he's marked that high. I see why. And he could finish at the rim too. So if he's there at 11 too, Tony, I'm taking him too. Just by what I'm seeing here right now.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it. Gavin, how are you? We discussed AJ Griffin, Mathurin, Davis, and Dyson Daniels so far.
Damn, this camera quality does look a lot better. Steph, I'm glad that I got that webcam on.
Yeah, there you go. Look at you. Looking sharp.
So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is what's the context that we're talking about this in? Is this on the basis that the Knicks are bringing back the same people, or what are we?
Well, we started with what we liked and didn't like about the player, or their areas of concern, and then we did talk a little bit about fit. We talked about whether this particular player is better than anybody we have at that position right now, and whether or not they can steal minutes or even beat out somebody for rotation minutes.
So first person, I guess, is Dyson Daniels. So I'm high on him as a point forward. He seems to shoot the ball pretty well off the catch and shoot around the perimeter, and he seems to have very good touch around the rim. He doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to go and create his shot a whole lot in the ISO game. He's more so getting to the rim. I mean, it looks like in that G League showcase, looks like he shot 50% from the field, 30% from three. He was averaging 12 and 7. But where I liked him is he was averaging 5 assists a game. And through watching his highlights, he seems to have a very good court vision. His court vision, IQ of the game, and where people are going to be in the passing lanes. Looks very good for somebody who's only 8. I think he's only 18. Mm-hmm. I think somebody who's 18. And he looks like he's a decent interior defender. I know in his highlights, it looks like he had 4 or 5 block shots. So I see him. He would be somebody that would be a good backup to like RJ. If we're looking for somebody to be a point forward, or somebody to even, he looks like his handles are decent enough. I don't know if he's a pure point guard, but in today's game where it's positionless basketball, and he reminds me, honestly, somebody he seems like he would be like a Draymond Green fit almost. Somebody who's not gonna put up a whole lot of shots. He's gonna pick and choose his spots, but I think that more so he'd be used as more so like a floor general and providing defense.
I like the Lonzo Ball comp, to be honest.
See, I think the difference is that Lonzo's a pure point guard. This guy's not. That's what, like, for me, like, the comp is more of a Draymond, because like I said, he's somebody who can facilitate the offense, at least from what I've seen so far. Like I said, his vision and putting people and setting people up in their spots seems to be very above average.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not letting go of the ball comparison either. Light, perhaps. Jarrell, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Salute Queen, salute to everybody in the chat, salute panel, Stafford Dom.
Notorious.
Salute Tone, salute Gavin. I see you, Gavin. New camera, who this?
That's what I said. I told y'all that night we were talking that I was ordering Amazon right then and there.
Yeah, man, I could definitely see the difference. Quinn, you want me to just talk about Dyson Daniels real quick? I don't know exactly who you went with yet.
We went through Dyson Daniels, we went through Mathurin, we went through Davis, we went through I'm
Griffin,
missing one.
AJ Griffin.
Griffin. Pick any one of
Griffin.
those.
Okay,
wanna
real
talk
quick. Griffin, he went to Duke. Obviously he's a good shooter. I don't like his defense. Lateral quickness is a liability.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. I think he could create his own shot, but the thing with Griffin is he was injured. So because of that, you don't know exactly what he can do. I don't want to put like that Duke season on him too much, especially when it comes to defense. Because like in high school, he showed way more athleticism than he did in college for that 1 year. Like just because he got injured, I think he hurt his knee. It pretty much turned him into just a spot up shooter. But in high school, he was actually able to create his own shot, get into the lane, and actually dunk on people and stuff. Like he was really, really athletic. But that knee injury actually stopped him a lot, it seemed like, this freshman season. Ben
So like
Mathurin.
one thing that
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was about to just switch real quick just because I missed so much. Ben Mathurin, he's actually my favorite wing. I think he's the most versatile. I think he could create his own shot. He probably is not the best shooter because probably Griffin is the better shooter. But I think Ben can actually get his own shot more, and I think he's a dog, and he might be the best on-ball defender at his position between him and Davis. Davis is everything that you would want Quentin Grimes to be without the jump shot, without the three-pointer, I should say. Because Griffin, obviously, him and Grimes are pretty much like the same type of body. They're both 6'5".
You mean Davis?
Davis, that's what I mean. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Davis is pretty much the same 6'5", the same type of body frame, a little more athletic than Grimes. He can create his shot off the dribble, especially with the mid-range. Very, very good at the mid-range, but his problem probably would be the three-pointer. So if you're going to draft a shooter, you probably don't want to draft Davis. But in terms of, since Tibbs is our coach, Davis actually might be the best pick because of his mid-range game, and he might be the best on-ball defender in the draft, especially for his size and with the position that he plays. Dyson Daniels, I like him, like his court vision, but like Gavin said, I view him more as a point forward. He's not a point guard. Okay, if you give him, say if you do want to compare him to Lonzo has way better court vision than he does. To me, like Lonzo is a pure point guard. He's just tall. Daniels is tall and he's elusive, and he could get other people in position, but I wouldn't, cause like I don't want him to be my point guard. Like I don't want him running my team, not at this point. But I think he can be in the future, but I don't think he's a pure point guard, no. I think he's just a really good, versatile player that could play make. I think that was pretty much it. I don't know if you went through everybody else.
I think there was some questions about who had the higher upside, Mathurin or Davis. The higher ceiling.
Mathurin will be have a higher ceiling than me because of his length. He's a little taller, and he's a way better shooter at this point. Like some stuff you can't teach. Like if he's shooting like almost 40% from the three in college, that's going to translate to the league to me. For me, like Davis, the only way his ceiling will be higher if he has to really, really work on his shot. Like I don't trust his three-pointer at all.
You don't trust Mathurin's three-pointer?
No, Davis.
Okay.
That's why I would give Mathurin the higher ceiling. And I like the dog in him too. Like personality-wise. Like I think, let's just say this. Like I said, I was on Eru's show just now. Salute to Eru, diehard Knicks, right? And we was actually talking about drafting a wing, right? if you really want to draft a wing, when you look at the wings that's on the team, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Grimes, Cam, and Alec Burks, right? The lowest person on the totem pole obviously is Cam. So we're going to draft a wing at 11. How much do you want Cam on the team then? Somebody's not going to play. I got you.
You muted,
Now, Jarrell, you done started something.
Okay.
Because if I had to guess, Tony would say Grimes would be the lowest one on the total pole, right?
No, naturally, yes, that's fine because Cam is more talented. But you got to think about who our coach is. Grimes is going to get more minutes than Cam next year.
Wow.
Unless, see, with Grimes, he has Evan Fournier to worry about. Cam usually has pretty much RJ playing the 3 or whatever. But I would think that Grimes is going to get more burn than Cam next year. Like, he would have to really get Tibbs' trust. Like, he hasn't earned it yet. He got hurt, so he really had to have a chance to earn it.
I think he got hurt earning it. I think him getting hurt helped his case.
I would hope
I don't
so,
see
because
Tibbs saying because he got hurt diving for a loose ball.
that's what I'm saying. I hope you're right.
I'm not saying. I'm saying Tibbs is gonna respect that effort. You know what I mean? A lot more than him being passive and just a normal injury. But what I'll say about the again, I respect the multiple positions part. So the fact that Cam can play the 2, can play the 3, and Grimes is kind of pigeonholed at that 2 spot, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he'll could guard a 3 on a switch, but
that's true. Cam can play the 4 also,
and that's why I think Cam is he's gonna be able to get more minutes because he's gonna be able to be put in more positions to get more minutes, where Grimes is a little pigeonholed.
I really hope you're right because, like I said before, everybody knows that I think Cam is the most talented on the team. I just don't think Tibbs, if it was up to me, I agree with you 100%. I don't think Tibbs is going to play him. Not like that. I think it's just because of Tibbs. It has nothing to do with the players that we're talking about. I'm just talking about the path that I think our coach is going to go. And the way that, especially Ben, the way that Ben Mathurin plays, Cam is going to be in trouble if we drafted him. Ben is a dog. He wants to be the best. Like, he in countless, like a number of interviews already, he's talked about he wants to be the best player out of Canada. And RJ is on our team.
What I like about that though, let them go at it. Still sharp and still. You know what I mean?
I have no problem with it at all.
And we got those 3 guys. You know what I mean? RJ could be right there in the middle, just playing favorites here. You know, like putting little tidbits in each one. We from Canada, man. We can't let we got that Duke connection. You know what I mean? Like we've been doing this. It just I'll be playing both sides, just making them go at each other, and sharpen each other's skills.
If they did draft Ben Mathurin out of Arizona, it would be very, very interesting. I would like to see what they do with Cam then. But to me,
you think he would get minutes immediately? You think he would be in the rotation?
Because of his defense, yeah. Both him and Johnny Davis play up. That's one thing that we can't say. You can't say that there's a negative about them. They're 2 of the best defenders in the draft at their position. They both can play defense. College defense, at least. You know, we have to see, how effective they'll be. Gavin, you muted, bro. I think you muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
You can hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. I'm actually the person that I'm highest on out of all these players is Mathurin from Arizona. He, to me, I like him over Cam solely for one reason. He's a dog, and he plays with a high energy. And I think that kind of matters when you play in certain environments. Like we say, when you talk about playing MSG, when you talk about playing for the Knicks, and that's one reason why New York loves Obi, is because he brings a lot of energy. But Mathurin, to me, I mean, he shot 45% from the field, 38% from the 3-point. he's only 6'6", but he plays a lot longer. The thing that I like about him is when he's coming off the screen, no matter if it's an on ball or off ball, he's looking to shoot, and it's going up. He's very athletic, and he runs the floor very well. I think Cam is way more talented than him, but like if it was like a battle between these things, I think that Mathurin solely wins out just because he's just somebody who looks like he wants it more. Like he plays with that passion in his game. To your point, AJ Griffin, I like AJ Griffin. The biggest thing that I saw with him is although he doesn't average a lot of points, he doesn't put up a lot of shots. He's very efficient with the shots he does pull up, and he hits the three at a very respectable clip. I think he shot like 44% from three and almost 50% from the field. Mm-hmm. To me, he kind of fits more in the Tibbs half court offense that we have. He's not a super quick guy who gets up and down the floor. And the reason I think that he fits in the half court offense very well is in like the dribble drive offense or when guards are penetrating, he's very good at relocating himself to open spots on the floor and knowing when to cut back door and knowing when to get himself open. But for me, I think the relative one of the best fits for us is probably Mathurin. And then I think Quinn, you said Abaji was your sleeper pick.
Yes.
See, I'm not that high on him. I think the thing with him, he kind of reminds me of almost like a Malik Beasley. With him, I mean, the thing with him is he's the only senior out of these group of guys, so he has the most, high level basketball experience. He's got the most NBA ready body out of them. But I mean, other than that, he doesn't do a whole lot of things well. I mean, I think he averaged 13, 4, and 1, shot like 44% from the field. But from what I remember, he's not that great of a free throw shooter, though. Either. To me, he seems like somebody who would just come off the bench and give you like some decent bench minutes. But I don't see him being somebody who really comes in and makes an impact for a franchise. I just think that the edge that he has over people is he's played 4 years of college ball. And like I said, his body out of everybody is probably the most NBA ready.
And he's a winner.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I guess what Abaji is, I guess is his upside.
I mean, he played for a winning team.
But he was a huge part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't. He wasn't watching them win, and I don't think they win without him.
No, they definitely don't win without him. Not that comeback that they had.
Anything in general? I mean, about the draft. I mean, we're just doing the wings today. Anybody else you liked when you were looking at at the draft that we didn't mention today? We'll do point guards, very few of them, and we'll do bigs as well for those in the chat who are asking.
Do you talk about Sharp at all?
We talked about Sharp. We just didn't think he would be there. So I did read that, people are having concerns about, him not playing and having to just go off of his pro days and going off of his high school tape, but that they believe somebody is going to take the plunge before 12. But this is a high risk, high reward pick.
Yeah, McQueen, can I see something real quick? Absolutely. That was the same thing with Kyrie too. Yeah. Kyrie didn't play, his year at Duke. He got injured. And look at him now. He was the number one pick. You know what I mean? And he carried LeBron and them to the playoffs and won the ring in Cleveland. So, sometimes that doesn't really matter to me, in my opinion, So I guess if they know what they're getting in him, they will take him. So why not?
Yeah, when it comes to Sharp, he's just so athletic. It's hard to look past it.
Super athletic.
Like I've seen a clip of him. Now you dunk between the legs, right? Simple. He did it off the drop one time. I seen him do it off the drop, and he's only like 6'5". So when you're like 17, 18 years old doing that, Yeah, you might just get picked in the top 10 of the NBA draft, whether you can shoot a jump shot or not. And it's not saying that he can't shoot at all, but yeah, with that type of athleticism and the stuff that he can do on the court, you're pretty much drafting for potential, but he definitely cannot be there at 11. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, anybody you see dropping, I mean, if you're talking about wings, the only wings, Keegan Murray, do you think he's dropping? Well, Keegan Murray, they have him as power forward, right?
Yeah, he's a power forward.
Power forward.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him, and I don't see how he would help our team either. Not the way our team is constructed now. I don't see that. Not with Julius Randle and Obi sitting there. I don't see him getting that much burn at the 3, and Tibbs is definitely not going to play him at the 4.
But he's a power forward, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to play him at the 5. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's not big
you're
enough
right.
to play at the 5, and we already have 4s, so I don't see us drafting him regardless.
But that's what we were talking about with these wing positions. Even though we have players at the position, I'm not sure the front office is worried about that. I think they're doing their due diligence. I think they're looking at, best players available.
I think
they wouldn't?
I can see that.
Go ahead.
I think part of what you got to consider is the guy I'm drafting. Do I believe he could beat out somebody on the roster? Like jump leapfrog him in rotation, in rotation position. If you don't think Keegan's gonna beat out Obi or Randall, I don't think there's a sense to draft him when you think another guy available might beat up somebody at a different position.
That's why I really think and thought this. I said this last week that I think we're going to draft a center. Even if Mitch, I think it's obviously kind of weird that the draft is before free agency, right? But even if Mitch stays, whoever we draft at center at 11 could beat out Sims.
Yeah. You might even get 8 and Mitch, sorry, Tony, was 8 and 8. You might even be able to get 8 and 8 from Durant,
Like if you draft Doran or Williams, we can get 8 and 8 out of both of them. Now. So
I was being a bit facetious though, because I do think that Mitch is probably way ahead in terms of polish, defenses and exactly. What you're supposed to do, but
But it's just statistically and what they'll be able to do in the future.
Same, but it might not be the same, because he would have to grow into that position, coverages and things of that sort.
But I wouldn't understand why the Knicks would draft a big man, I mean,
but think of it this way:
that's even not an area of need, though.
But wings are
looking at the area of need, maybe a point guard or even another wing. Because I said before, in my opinion, you could never have enough wings. So to me, drafting another big man and as high as 11-2, he has to be dynamic, bro. He has to be shooting from the outside, because that's something we don't have if you're going to draft a big man. You just don't want the rim protecting rim runner all the time. I know what's his name, Williams kid got a little game to him. Yeah, but as far as experience-wise and defense-wise, I'm still rolling with Mitch. You're muted, Queen.
This is the question I have, and Tony and I talked about this on Knicks and Bruises. How drafting a big, do you want to use your assets on a big at 11, a rim running, rebounding big, when you can get somebody in the second round or in free agency, maybe not as good as Durant or Mark Williams, but maybe not that far behind, and you can have an opportunity to actually use that pick to get a wing? Because when you think about the bigs in this league, How many bigs in this league are just so dynamic and so successful to justify a top 10 or a high pick? Like a Mobley, yes.
Mhm.
You know, even
Jokic,
Jokic was right, but they got him. They didn't spend first round capital on him. They got
I
him in
know.
the second round. So I get it. I think that Durant and Mark Williams are top 10 guys. If somebody, drafted them in the top 10, nobody's
Mhm.
going to look at them like they're fools. But I'm just saying, comparatively speaking, do you want to spend that type of capital on a big or a wing? When you can get a big later on, that's just a little, maybe a notch or so below.
I think
Listen,
Duran I would take the chance on for more than Williams, in the sense that, hypothetically speaking, can he end up being a Bam out of Bayou? You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
if he could translate into that, that changes the whole scenario. So if you
Mhm.
envision that in him, then I might take that chance.
Okay.
But when you say like with the Williams kid, as much as I like his game, and I think he could come in and fill Mitch's role immediately, I don't know if he's gonna bring a new dynamic to this team. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's the way I would look at it. Is this guy gonna bring a new dynamic? Is he gonna be able to stretch the floor a little bit at the 5? Is he gonna be able to guard the perimeter at the 5 on a switch? Those things, something that will bring a new dynamic, then I consider it. But if he's not going to bring a new dynamic and he's just kind of filling in the same role of replacing like a Mitch theoretically, I think we could find that, and it would be cheaper, and then not use the asset at that time. You know what I mean? The 11th pick. I'll
But
do
you
it in the
agree
second
that
round.
player would be a little, not maybe a notch below.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Maybe.
Or you find them in free agency. You know what I mean? You try to snag a JaVale McGee or something, or even a Dwight Howard at this point. You know what I mean? Like, so
My thing about that is, though, couldn't you say the same thing about the wings? Like at this point, like I named the 5 wings that we have on the team already, right?
hmm
So we did draft a wing at 11. Which wing at 11 takes the place of one of them?
one of our current players.
Right. And what's the dynamic trait that the wings that we're talking about, how do they change the team?
But this is
Because
what
to
I
me,
would
it's
say.
pretty much the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get your point. I guess what I'm trying to say is when you look at where the league is now,
Mhm.
you're going to have a better shot at somebody being a star at the wing position than at the center position. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
That
That's true.
but in terms of just talent for talent, not thinking about league value and things like that,
Mhm.
Duran and Williams, those are top 10 picks. I was just trying to throw a little curveball and just thinking about, centers in this league and
Put it like
what's
this.
their role, especially if they're not shooting centers.
Right.
Put it
Do you
like
want to
this.
spend a high draft pick on a
If you pass on a Mathurin, chances are you're not going to find a Mathurin in the second round. You know what I mean, or something close. If you pass on a Davis, chances are you're not going to find a Davis in the second round. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you pass on a Williams, there's a chance you might find somebody not that far behind Williams down the road. So I think that's what you're saying, right, Queen? Or am I-
yes,
That's
yes,
what you meant.
that's what I was thinking. Somebody that's going to come in and get you minutes. I just, after watching Mitch and Sims, and Mitch, I've been watching for 4 years. I'm so on him. I see if the Knicks bring him back, I understand why. If they don't bring
Mhm.
him back, I understand that too.
Right.
Watching Sims as well, who I like. I just need a center that can hit a shot. I just think it changes a lot of things for the Knicks in terms of how we play if we have a center who can hit a shot.
In the first round, prime Mark Williams would probably be your best bet then.
I disagree with that. I'm going with Jalen. I think he got a
Really?
better up. Yeah, I think he got
Williams
a better upside.
over
better-
Jalen?
Upside. Well, we talking offense though.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry,
just talking
defense.
Yeah, offense. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. He got a better jump shot, better upside than Williams.
I agree.
My opinion, I think he's going to go first off the board if any of the centers go off.
I do
Just
like
because of that too.
I do personally like Duran more. The only reason I say that about Williams and his touch around the basket is because he shoot like in the 70s when it comes to free throws.
That's a good point.
So that alone already shows me that he has touch around the basket.
Great point.
And he will be able to develop some type of shot. Because you got to think about both of these kids that we're talking about, they're like 18 and 19 years old. Jalen Duran, I believe he might be the youngest player in the draft.
I think he is.
Right. So I don't expect anything that much from either one of them on offense yet.
Yeah. Right. We're talking upside. Like,
yeah, but I'm just talking straight upside who's going to be able to shoot like a 13-foot jump shot sometimes. I would give it over to Mark Williams just because of the free throw shooting. That's it. Right. But from like your point, like what they have shown so far, yeah, Jalen Duran is better offensively than Mark Williams is. Like he got a little jump hook and everything. Like I see him do stuff off the drop, turn shoulders on both sides. Like he can actually score down there.
Yeah, shout out to Public Enemy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Queen. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna shout out Public Enemy #1, and he's right. Everyone was on the Book Knight and Suggs bandwagon last season. What happened to them? Next season we'll be back here again with what happened to Soto and Daniels. It's true. We do these deep dives into these prospects every year.
I like them though.
And I know, and then they don't get any time,
right.
you know, but it's still early. It's still early. It's still early. Even for Book Knight and Suggs, it's still early.
Yeah, and I don't think Soto will be in the 11 range. I think he's going way lower than that.
Yeah, if he gets drafted. I think he's moving up into the second round, though.
Like, we might could get him at 42, not at 11.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but he's a big that can shoot, though. Like, if that is what we want, and he got size to him.
Change. That's what I mean. Grab him at 42 as opposed to using that 11 on the center. You know what I mean? Where
you can do that.
You can get a potential all-star at the 11th pick, and then pick up a somewhat of a project in Soto.
My only thing with the 11, when it comes to the wings, like say we get Johnny Davis. Much as I like his game, I don't think he's gonna play.
You don't think he beats out Grimes? You don't think he beats out Cam?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Nope.
Well, are you saying that because of the coach, or are you just saying that because of the guys on the team?
Both.
Well, take Tibbs out of the equation. Do you think
take Tibbs out of the equation?
Take Tibbs out of the equation, and just in terms of talent, do you think Davis has a higher ceiling or is a better player than Grimes or Cam?
Maybe Grimes, because of his ability to create his own shot. He has a better handle. Not saying it's completely great. He's no point guard or anything like that, but he does have a better handle. But Cam, nah, I'm taking Cam over Johnny Davis.
Wow. And you the one who talked about Cam's motor and you would still take him over. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because Cam is young enough that I might can fix it. Like he's not so far gone that I'm like completely want to drop him off. He's still only 21 years old. Like hopefully we can get, Cam going. But in terms of Johnny Davis, like he does have a motor. I like him, but I don't see him getting like minutes over Grimes. Yeah.
And Mathurin, you feel the same way, right?
Pretty much the same way, even though like on the long run, I like Mathurin better. If he get drafted by this team, I don't see him playing over like getting not major minutes, but it would be situational after he has to go after Fournier, Grimes, RJ, Cam, and Alec Burks, obviously.
I think both those. I think both those guys
he's going to play though. Steph.
Beat out Grimes. Personally,
he's going to play. Like much as I don't want him to, he's going to play though.
I think Davis and Mathurin will beat out Grimes in the rotation. I think Griffin maybe not, but he could fill a role of a specialist. You know what I mean? Like we're in dire need of a three, or we're not hitting any threes. He'll come in and that'll be his job. He could come in and shoot 8 threes a game and probably hit 3 to 4 of them.
Let's just say this:
I
for what we
wouldn't
do, right?
put him above anybody beating him out on the current roster.
Let's just say this: for what we do, and for what Tibbs does, in terms of Grimes, imagine if Grimes couldn't shoot the 3-pointer. How effective will he be? That's what I'm saying.
He wouldn't.
That's what Johnny Davis is.
No, but Johnny Davis does. Johnny Davis
He's not
does.
a 3-point shooter.
I beg to differ because I feel like number one, he hits them when they count, when it's down the stretch in the big moments. That's more important than I don't care if you shoot 30%, but if you're gonna shoot the game winner and hit it, I'll take that every time. You know what I mean? You can shoot 10% if you're gonna make the game winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but also I think he had that defense focused on him all year long. You know, Grimes, no disrespect to Grimes, but he was kind of left open. You know what I mean? He was an unknown. They didn't know.
In Houston?
No, in the league.
But hold on. You can't.
We talking about college, though.
He has a different role, though. So let's compare both of their college to college because it's kind of not fair.
Even in that, Johnny Davis had a different. He was the guy. He was the guy. You know what I mean? Like everybody knew it. His team knew it. The other team knew it. Mm-hmm. That wasn't who Grimes was. You know what I mean? So I think that won't be the case in the league, which is gonna give him easier shots. That's what I was trying to say. In the league, he's not gonna be the focal point of the defense. He's gonna get the same open looks that Grimes got, and I would think he makes a better percentage than he did in college.
So you're saying that it was just because of volume that his percentage was down?
Volume and the focus being on him. He took a lot of tough shots. He took a lot of shots down at the end of the shot clock because they knew who the ball was going to. You know what I mean? But what I love about him is when the game was on the line, when it was time to make a comeback, you know what I mean? Or the other team was making a comeback and you need to stop a run. He was there for all those situations.
Any concerns about Johnny Davis being able to create separation, get his shot off, do the same thing he did in college against NBA players who are going to be bigger, quicker, faster? Or do you think that he's going to be able to get it off the same way he did in college without having to make adjustments?
That's my hang up on him. I don't think he's quick enough to do what he did in college.
That's why you guys
ball handling too. This ball handling too. I don't think
he's going to be as effective because of the shot.
That's why you guys sold me on Mathurin over Davis at this point. But I read something early on in the chat. I'm sorry I didn't get the name of who said it. And Jarrell, you already said he's not a point guard.
He's not.
But the comparison this guy made was Brogdon, which, you know, coming into the league or just looking at Brogdon's game and looking at Davis's game, non-athletic, not the shiftiest with the handle, you know what I mean? I could see him playing a point in that type of a role. Big guard, you know what I mean? Tough defender. So, again, I heard you, he's not a point guard. Could that be something he transitions into? Because you know, I love the multiple
TC. One of his weaknesses is ball handling.
Yeah, ball handling.
That ain't gonna work unless he tightens that up real good. Then after we saying something, but I wouldn't it's still shaky.
I wouldn't consider it a weakness per se, though. Like I've watched a lot. He's the guy I watched the most of. To say he's not a pure ball handler or a pure point guard, I agree with that 100%. Mm-hmm. But to say he can't run the offense or he can't bring the ball up the court or things of that nature, I disagree. Because he had the ball in his hand. He had the ball in his hands with the defense geared for him. So that's gonna make the handle look a little shaky at times too. You know what I mean? Like just like it's gonna affect that 30% 3-point shot. Like it wasn't like he had free range
To me, it would be like
open court.
To me, it would be like Burks. Like he's capable of doing it, but do you want him to be the point guard? That's what That's
Right.
what it is.
And there's a
I
difference
wouldn't think
between
so.
bringing-
You got
doing
those
it.
like Marcus
Right.
Smart and all
Right.
these other defensive point guards that's aggressive.
Yeah, I don't want him to be.
I don't see it like that.
And this is the thing. There's a difference between being able to bring the ball down and initiate the offense and create opportunities for yourself and for others.
Yeah,
and
he's not a
that's
creator. He's not a creator.
right. That's what we talk about. Can he bring the ball down and initiate the offense? Yes, he can do that.
But I think his IQ is high enough he'll make the right read. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that's good enough to be to run the position. You know what I mean? But I agree. He's not a pure point guard, and I'm not advocating for him to do it. But would it help his game? Absolutely.
See, I've seen a couple people in the chat say Devin Booker. I do not compare him to Devin. Like Devin Booker had a 3-point shot that Davis does not have. That's why I do not compare him to Devin Booker. But
No.
to Davis, but to counter the Devin Booker point, Davis probably has a better mid-range game than Devin Booker did coming out of college.
And that's
Like if
bread
you're
and
gonna go
butter now.
like talk about like the stuff that he's really, really good at,
Right.
I'm not giving him the 3-point shot, but that mid-range is beautiful. The only thing now is if he's quick enough and the ball handling is crisp enough for him to get that shot off. That's all. But when it comes to the actual shot, the mid-range is beautiful. The 3-point just needs work. That's all. But that's why I wouldn't compare him to Devin Booker coming out of college.
Yeah, I mean, and this is what I will say as well. For a lot of these prospects, the ball handling has to get better to help create separation and to help get your spots. Being able to get a shot off in college doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to get your shot off in the NBA. I'm not saying you won't, but who knows? I mean, you can't just say it'll automatically happen. Tightening up that ball handling, getting crafty with it, guarantees you, regardless of your athleticism, that you're going to be able to get to your spots. And I think for Davis, I'm not saying he's not athletic, but it's average or a little above average athleticism, tightening up that ball handling is going to work wonders for him. And I'm not even saying he's a poor ball handler. I'm just saying now being able to go against these, potentially stronger, faster guys, if his ball handling is tightened up, he'll be able to get a shot. And he knows that. And he knows
that
that.
mid-range is beautiful. I like the mid-range jumpers. His mid-range is nice. You can ball.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that the 30% is because of the volume, and that in the NBA, when he's not being counted on as the number one option and he's just sitting back, picking his spots, the ball is coming to him, that he'll shoot a higher percentage.
And plus, when we talk about Devin Booker, we have to think about it. There's a two-year age jump between both of them coming out of college also. Booker was like 18 coming out of Kentucky. Davis is 20 going on 21, I believe. So I don't compare them two.
Shots fired. J Boogie. Johnny Davis is going to be a bust. I saw himself completely out in the Big Ten and NCAA tournament, completely unable to take over.
Well,
again.
That's a take.
I said it earlier.
Hey, I said he couldn't shoot. I didn't say he was going to be a bust.
Kind of split on Johnny Davis in terms of his upside. Is he going to be a star? Is he going to be a role player? Listen, I think all of these guys, they're swing factors. Right. Something that if they correct, they'll approach their ceiling, and if they don't, they won't. Right?
Yep.
And I think for Johnny Davis is that 3-point shot. Yep. And tightening up that handle so that he can get his shot off no matter what, because the mid-range is good. Right? So he starts shooting from the 3. He tightened up that handle so he can get his shot off no matter who's guarding him. that increases his
Yeah.
chances of reaching his ceiling. Now he's a two-way player that can score on all three levels.
How's Mathurin's ball handle? And I'm not saying to play point guard. I'm just asking about his ball handle.
Honestly, to me, it's about the same. Like, they're both good. I think Johnny Davis probably a little bit better on getting his shot off in the mid range though. Like, he really knows how to do that. He can get that shot off. It's just can he get it off in the NBA? I don't know, but he definitely got it off in college. Mathurin he pull up from anywhere though. I like him. Like, he pull up from the logo. Like, he's a shooter. So I think he would, his ball
Giving me them
handling would be
quickly
good.
vibes now.
I like
will
that
say-
how quickly. It just can't happen all the time.
But I will say that, like, Mathurin, like, he'll pull up from anywhere, but I will say, like, he doesn't take bad shots. It's like he
Right.
knows his spots on the floor, and some of his best shooting comes off either the catch and shoot, or, like I said, either on or off ball screen.
Right.
Like I said,
Mhm.
he's either coming off a curl and he's coming off of a ball screen and he's
Yep.
letting it go, or as soon as that on ball screen comes, like one dribble and he's going up into it. And I think the thing that helps him too is
Right.
like he's so athletic and springy that he's shooting over people.
He gets high on his shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
He gets up there and the other thing too is he's got a quick release.
Right.
Like especially on the catch and shoot, he's got a very quick release.
That's one of the main reasons I think, just for this team, he fits better for us than Johnny Davis. Not saying who will be the better player going forward, but just by the way that we play. If we're going to go by the way we play, I can have Ben Mathurin just go off screens all game and shoot. He doesn't have to dribble.
Right.
Johnny Davis has to dribble in order to get his shot off. That's the difference between both of them.
That's a
Right.
fact. That's a fact.
Right. And finishing at the rim.
I don't think neither one of them are that good at finishing at the rim, to be honest.
Yeah, again, I would have
Yeah.
to rock with Mathurin because he has the height and reach
The
advantage.
athleticism.
So
Right.
at least he might dunk it at the end of that finish.
Yeah, he dunk it on people, bruh.
Yeah. Well, let's just say this: they both have enough dog in them to try.
Yeah.
Not saying they
Ain't
gonna
no
get it
trying
off,
with
though, but
Mathurin.
they'll try.
Ain't no trying with Mathurin. He coming at you.
Yeah, I like
He
Mathurin.
coming at you.
I get
the Davis kid, he just
Anthony
finesse.
Edwards vibes from him.
From Mathurin.
Yeah, he believes in himself. I think Sin was in the comments earlier talking about he said he's gonna be the best player in the league in a few years,
Mhm.
whatever.
In 5 years.
So things like that means a lot to me too. You know what I mean? Like you talk about Cam and the motor, but this guy, it seemed like he motivated himself. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he don't need no help, no extra motivation. Like he feel like he's the best. So
That's
He's
why I don't think
confident
we're gonna
he's
get him.
confident in himself.
I don't think Mathurin reaches 11. That's just who I want.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
think he reaches 11.
Yeah. I barely closed up for the show, typing in, and I was like, by the time the show starts, he's probably gonna be going between
Right.
5 and 8.
Right. Right.
he might be drafted already.
Yeah.
Pick right before us.
Shout out to Sherwin, who's our resident height. He's into how tall guys and Mathurin did.
Didn't be wrong.
He's
though.
actually
Stop.
6'6".
Nah, they'd be wrong though.
Yeah. At the combine, he measured 6'6" in shoes.
Right.
With a 6'9" wingspan. But
Mhm.
Sherwin always wants to take off like an inch or two. I don't care what the player is. Now,
He
I don't
said
know if you're
Obi
going
was
to
like
be
6'5" the other day.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be in Atlantic City, but when you see me, don't come back saying I'm 5'8". I'm not.
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, he's actually 6'6", so I'll have to correct that.
The crazy part is that they actually look like they're different sides. When we talk about Mathurin and Davis, right? They actually look. Mathurin looked tall, but he really not that much taller. He got him by like a quarter of an inch. They just look different. They just have different body types.
Yeah. Let me see.
6'7", 6'5". Okay.
Yeah, they have him 6'5", but I want to see what did he
Nah, he
at the
measured
combine.
at 6'5" and 7/5. So 6'5" and 3/4. Like he's pretty like that's no
Almost
shoes
6'6".
on. So
Right,
he's basically
right.
6'6" with his shoes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's Davis.
So pretty
and Mathurin
close.
is 6'6" and 6.5 with his shoes. So it's pretty much the same height. They just look different. They both have different body types. Mathurin, I think Johnny Davis probably got him by like maybe 5 or 10 pounds. But they just look different.
Right. Yeah, you're right. A quarter inch shy of 6'6"
Right.
in shoes.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. Anything else about any of these players? Anything draft related before we get our last words and get out of here?
So if let's just say if it came down to them beating out Grimes, right? Because everybody seems to think that because Grimes has the love of Tibbs, that he's not going to play. If it came down to like a Johnny Davis or a Mathurin, would you guys be okay if they traded away Grimes to draft one of those two?
Honestly, I would prefer they trade Cam. Only because I think that
See?
Grimes'
Yeah.
3-point shooting is something that we need. And I think you already know what you're getting from Grimes. He's a 3-and-D guy. You know you're going to get that each and every night. I think with Cam, he has higher potential. But we talk about him reaching his ceiling. One of the things he really needs to do is raise his floor so that you know exactly what you're getting game in and game out. If you bring in a Mathurin, he has a similar game. I mean, listen, I'm not saying Cam is not talented. That's not what I'm saying. He's talented, but I'm talking about it's at some point you got to cash in on the talent. At some point you got to get what you need to get out of that talent.
I think part of it is the because we as fans and probably the coaching staff as well, they know what Cam is capable of. They're not pigeonholing him. If they told Cam, we just want you to play defense and shoot threes, I think he would be just as good as Grimes at that. I think the fact that he's able to do more, they want him to do more. They want him unlocked.
I think he's as good a 3-point shooter as Grimes.
He can
I think he can be if that's all he was gonna do.
Can be.
You know what I mean? And then just focus on defense. I think he'd wash Grimes personally. The fact that he's able to do more, I think they, you know what I mean? It leaves him open to more mistakes or even more. How do I say it? Let me just stick with what I'm saying initially. If you put him as a 3-and-D guy, and you say all we want you to do is shoot threes at a high percentage and play defense, I think he does that better than Grimes.
But how do we know that? He shot 20-something% from three the year before last. He got it up to 34%. So I think his 3-point shooting is a work in progress.
Okay, but
now next year he might be there. I'm just talking about what I've already seen as far as 3-point shooting is concerned.
I agree, but I'm also not sold on Grimes' 3-point shot based off of a year. You know what I mean? Like he could very well regress to 35 or 30 or whatever the case. You know what I mean? Like, but I do believe, like, if you say this is what we want you to do, and that's it, I think he would be more than capable at the very least of doing shooting 40% or even 30.
And defensively, you think he has the dog that Grimes has?
I do.
Okay.
My thing is, I just want everybody to get in their head that we're losing somebody. Somebody's going to go.
I would actually, you know what I mean? If it wasn't like contract year and all that for Cam, I would be like, yo, just focus on defense. Everything else is going to come because you have that natural talent to do it. You know what I mean? But focus on defense and you know what I mean? I would do what we saw with RJ early this year. Put him on the best perimeter guy. Make that your calling card. The rest of that stuff is gonna end up falling into place anyway.
You do make
and another thing too. I think they will more likely trade more of the vets also too than the young than a Grimes. You know, because that would be better for them financially because Grimes is still on a rookie contract. right? So, and then you're looking at Cam, as just TC just stated, he's in a contract here, so he's looking to get paid. So, he might be on the first thing smoking, and Burks and any one of those other vets might be, because they rather keep the young guys and keep it flexible, with the rookie contract.
I got a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Queen, you're muted.
Because we gave up the first round pick to acquire Cam, does that mean if we're moving him, the haul needs to be somewhat higher?
Well, at least worthy of a first round pick.
Yeah, because that's another thing that troubles me with, you know what I mean? Like, with a lot of people saying he's trade bait or move him or whatever, because the fact that we gave up the first round pick for him, I feel like there's got to be some inner belief in the organization in him. You know what I mean?
It could be that, or it could be that he's a trade asset. Either way, it could be either one.
Is the value you get from moving him gonna be more than the value of that pick if you still had the pick and not him? That, you know what I mean? That's what I mean.
Let me just get to Josh's point, and he makes a good point. It doesn't have to be either or. In a year or two, we will find out. At some point, they're going to begin to separate themselves, and I'm hoping next season it is that. Listen, when the Knicks went after Cam, there's none of us was in the room, so we don't know. I think they liked his talent, and I think, at worst, they thought that he would still be an asset if they needed to put him in a trade. He still has value around the league, but this is what happens. The more you play, the less people can fantasize about who you can be, because that pushes up a value as well, because people can fantasize about what you can be. And as time goes on, you really get to see what a player is. And at some point, like Josh says, this year coming or the year after that, we're going to know who Cam is. We're going to know who Grime is.
See, and I think my two things are different between them. I think that one thing with Cam, kind of like Jarrell said, is I think that everybody in the league and everybody in the office and in the organization knows what Cam can give you. It's just about getting it out of him. And I think for sometimes, like we've said it on multiple shows, sometimes there's just guys where, like, it's hard to give up on certain talent. And, like, Cam is one of those talents where it's just, like, it's hard to give up on him because he's cold. Cam is in his own way. Like, Cam is going to be the one who hurts himself, not anybody else. And then the only thing with me with Grimes is, one is I'm questioning. I want to see how that knee is doing going into the offseason and how it comes back next year, because once he came back from that knee injury, the little bit that he played, to me, Grimes is like a streaky shooter. Like, I can see him going on a hot streak, but I can also see Grimes going cold. And the only difference that I like about people like John Davis or Mathurin or like even Cam is, to me, like, Grimes just doesn't look for his shot enough. And to me, sometimes he's too passive. And I feel like even in today's NBA game, like, you have to be able to get your own shot off. And to me, Grimes just doesn't do that very well. And I think that, too, with his height being average or a little bit below average, I think that hurts him, too.
So let me, correct me if I'm wrong, right? So Uncle Fulio said within 2 years we're going to see what Cam is. Is that what he said?
I think he meant Cam, Grimes, and pretty much any of our young players.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, but how long has Cam been in the league?
4th year coming up.
Okay, so we need an extra 2 years to see. Okay, Uncle Fulio, thank you.
See, but
Right.
like, that's the thing. See, that's the thing, though. It's like I said, with a talent like Cam, like, it's really hard to give up on somebody like that. Like I said, like, it may not show.
I mean, Atlanta gave up on him. All right, let me put it like this: if Cam was such this big talent, right? Why did Herder get the job over him? Why did these other guys get the job over him if he was this big soul talent that they didn't want to, they let him go? You understand what I'm saying, bro? I'm not disagreeing with your point, But I'm just saying though, what sense does it make? I mean, yo, if he's a trade bait, let him go, bro.
Because I think you have two different types of GMs. Like you have the people, like I said, Cam is hard to give up on. I think the thing with Cam in Atlanta was it's mental for him. There's some people who are willing to sit through and ride through people with that, and there's some people who are just like, yo, I don't have time to sit here and cater to your mental side and try to get that. Because some people are not in that weight now. But like I said, but there are some people, like when you see a talent like Cam Reddish, and like Jarrell said, he's still young enough that you can. Hopefully, he's not that far gone where he can still figure it out. So here's the thing, though. Let's just say that next year, mentally, right? Cam gets together. Cam Reddish is cold. Like he can be one of the best players in the league based on his talent. Like I said, for Cam, it's just more so mentally, and if he wants to go get it.
But that's the point we're trying to make. This
man.
has been his issue through high school. So I get what you're saying. Through high school, through college, I don't know about high school, but through college, through his first few years in the league, you're right. Teams are betting on him putting it together. And you're right. Atlanta probably, gave up a little early, perhaps. Now the Knicks are in, and now the Knicks have to say, how much time are we going to get it? This is the question I have, and I was thinking about this. How many players came in with a knock of a low motor and changed that when they were in the NBA? How many players came in with the knock that they're talented, but they're stopping themselves and was able to change that in the NBA?
That's the problem that I have with it. You usually don't see that. That's something you're usually born with. You cannot coach motor. You don't usually develop motor later on. You either have it or you don't. That's almost like in every sport too, not just basketball.
I agree, man. And look, if he was hungry enough from the first time, you would have been playing, bro. Herder would have been on the bench. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because if you're so this talented and you're so hungry, and you yourself saying that how you're a star, you should have been at that level already. You know what I'm saying? And to beat out Herder, and he got an extra contract. So I'm just saying, because all the saying that he's talented and he's this and he's that, and he needs more time within 2 years, and he's been in the league 4 years now. Look, he got to show me something this year if he gonna want to get paid. That's all I'm saying, man. Because I'm tired of all the excuses with some of our players. You know what I mean? It's time to put up or shut up.
And that's one thing that, like I said, and maybe the Knicks are in a spot where they're like, hey, we'll wait, and we'll see what Cam gives us. Now here, the other thing is that I think that maybe you'll see a difference this year is the fact that it's his contract year. And the thing that worries me with Cam is he's going to come out and show us what he's supposed to be, and then he gets the contract. And then for me, it's like, what happens after that? Does he revert right back to who he was before? But like I said, but I think obviously the Knicks see something in him, or else I don't think that they would have just traded for him, especially not a first-round draft pick. So there's got to be something that they must think that he is going to get to the level, and they may be willing to wait it out. Like I said, because you're not suing a first-round draft pick on somebody.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't a high first round. Right. It was a mid-range first-round pick. Uncle Fulio wanted us to know. It wasn't like it was a high first-round pick.
I think it was like 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But I hope you're right, Gavin. You know what I mean? I hope you're right. For real, for real.
We shall see. I'm just saying, if we draft a wing, if we did draft Ben or Johnny Davis, I think that kind of showed. I guess to me, Cam will be the odd man out, not Grimes. Just by the way Tibbs thinks and who he likes.
No, and you got to look at it financially too, Gerard.
Financially,
because Grimes is still on the rookie contract.
That's true too.
And Cam is up for an extension.
Mm-hmm.
But that would definitely mean that they would have to trade Cam though.
Try to recoup some of the value.
Have to.
If not all of it.
Or if that case, we're gonna lose him just like for nothing, just like we lost Mitch. Or going to lose him. Like, how many times can we do that? Like, they already dropped the ball doing that.
Right. Let's read the super chat. Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, Knicks cannot keep all their kids. At some point, the Knicks will have to make a decision. We got kids already, plus draftees, plus future picks. Don't let Cornerstone Cab get y'all too attached.
I agree with Josh. I mean, to be honest, that's right. I try to tell people that all the time. Like,
It's
if
a
you like
business.
all the kids, right? You got to think where we drafted all the kids. All of their contracts are going to be coming up at the same time. We can't pay all of them. I don't think we'll be able to.
Mhm.
So somebody got to go. Like somebody that you like on the team, young, he's not going to be on the team going forward. They can't.
And who do you think is the most likely choice for the kids
Cam.
coming up?
Cam. I think they're going to trade him. Especially if they pick a wing. Like if they pick a wing, it's almost the writing on the wall. Like who else would they trade?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, Cam probably has the most value.
Yeah,
Probably has more value than Grimes, and he costs more, or he's gonna
Right.
cost more than Grimes. Grimes is still on his rookie contract. But I think
Right.
Gavin made a good point. The difference between having talent and being able to get that talent, right? Being
Mhm.
able to get the talent out of the player. And I think that's what you're betting on when it comes to Cam, that we're going to be able to crack this code, or he's going to be able to crack the code while we have him and turn into the player everybody knows he can be. And Atlanta was probably like, he might not. I'm going to go with somebody who has a lower ceiling, but I know I'm going to get all of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. How many think the Knicks, before we get out of here, how many think the Knicks will stand pat on the draft day as far as trades are concerned? You think any trades are going to happen, if you had to guess?
If any trade might happen, to Gavin's point, not Gavin, but Jarrell's point, I think we might trade back, and then probably if we don't trade back, as we say, for the young kids, that's what I'm trying to get, because what Uncle Fuyu said, we can't hold on to all of the young kids. So if anybody was to be traded, I'm saying probably Cam and that pick for a veteran point guard, probably, maybe, because that's one of our needs. So that's just my opinion on that particular question. Because we need a point guard, and I think we may use probably that and probably that pick to get a vet point guard or something like that, depending on who is available.
Yeah, I think Leon Rose has already showed us that if he doesn't make a move, he's going to at least try to. He's made a move in every draft that he's been a part of so far. Whether it's going to be this first round pick at 11 or the 42 pick, or maybe come back into the first round, which I highly doubt because of the roster. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good chance that he's going to make a move.
I would do that building blocks.
What's that?
The 11th and Cam for the number 4.
Yeah, but that's too little, though.
And grab who? And grab who?
And so that's the other thing. So
that's true.
If we're trading, are we wanting to trade up for the I think because the thing is we have so many wings. Are we wanting to trade up to get a wing, or are we wanting to trade somebody away to get a point guard? Because I think the wing problem can be solved somewhere. The point guard, I think, is one of the hardest things to solve for us.
That was my point.
If we're trading up to 4, it would have to be for somebody like Ivy. But Ivy isn't a point guard either. He can play it, but he's not a point guard. So I think it depends on how they view him. They obviously don't think that he's a pure point guard. Nobody does. But if they think that he can actually facilitate the offense and have the ball in his hand for the most part of the game, then yeah, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think trades will happen for the Knicks during draft night. I have no idea. I think it's going to be more than just trading up for another draft pick or prospect. I think players on the Knicks will move on draft night. That's the feeling that I have. And whether that's Randall, whether that's Fournier, whether that's Burks, whether that's Cam. I have no idea, but I think it's going to be popping. And I think when we're at the doing our live podcast the next day, the day after, that's when we'll be talking about it.
Steph,
That
is there
night.
anybody that you would want to see get traded away?
Let the speculation begin.
Oh, we already.
That I would want to see get traded away.
Ah, boy.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Stafford,
I don't know.
everybody gonna say Randall.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yo, because in every trade,
I'm not
in
gonna-
every
That's
trade
right,
box, yo, it's Randall. Every single one, bro.
I'm
just
not going to say Randall.
ridiculous.
As much as issues I had
So
with
everybody
Randall
but Randall.
this season, I still feel you don't give up on talent, and you do everything you can to see if you can, reclaim his emotional. Forget the game. Reclaim him emotionally. It's going to be hard to replace that. But if the Knicks do trade him, it's okay. I don't know who I would want to trade. I just know what we need. We
Right,
need a
right.
center that can shoot.
Somebody.
We need a
somebody
point
can
guard.
go. Let's just say
And I
that.
would love a 6'8", 3-and-D wing. If Cam can become that would be great.
Yeah.
We
See, that's the
we
thing.
shall see.
I don't think Cam gonna be that.
Yeah.
We're gonna see all these and
Unfortunately.
hear about all these training camp competition, hopefully. And we're gonna see. We're gonna see preseason.
Yeah.
Who's
Like
gonna
Josh
play and
said,
who's
they
gonna
will
get
separate
minutes.
themselves.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. I just thought about something. The kid from Baylor. Did you talk about? We're talking about wings. Did you talk about Shohan at all?
I see him
we
as a
didn't get to
forward.
it yet.
He can
I
play the
see him
three.
more as a he can play the
Mhm.
I guess I did more 2-3s, but he'll be
Okay.
next week. Next week when we do
Okay.
is there enough to separate? I was just gonna do bigs, power forwards, and centers. I don't know if
would
there's
do-
enough to separate them out. And I'm talking
No.
about just for the range that the Knicks play at the 11th pick. I think we could kind of group them. Sohan,
I think for
Doran,
centers, period,
Williams.
you wouldn't have a whole show for centers, period.
Right,
That many
right.
of them.
right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think power forwards and centers we can put in one show.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like Shohan though.
Yeah.
Just 'cause of his
I
defense.
like him.
The only reason I,
just
mentioned
think-
it because you said 3-and-D. You said 6'8",
Yeah, 3-and-D.
3-and-D. He's 6'8", 3-and-D. He's
Yeah.
the prototypical 6'8", 3-and-D. Don't do nothing else. You don't want him to even sniff the basketball in his hand unless he catches it and shoot it.
But I don't even. Is he a great 3-point shooter? I don't even think. I think
No.
he still has
I
to
don't
work
think
on that
so.
as well.
Nah, he got to work on that.
He
gotta-
reminds me of that kid that got traded to that signed with Charlotte with the fluffy hair. What's his name?
Oubre,
Oubre?
Oubre.
good defender, inconsistent from three.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he don't turn into who's that draft pick? Isaiah Thomas pick back starts with a W. Remember, and he took him in the first round, and we was like, "What?
Who?
Cox. Not Will Cox.
Not Will Cox.
I know you talk with the
He had
dreads.
a and a pretty big nose,
What's his name? Last name Bachman? What's his name?
something like that." Nah, I think he's better than that.
I know who
think
you're
he's
talking
better.
about.
I know you
Yeah,
talking
I
about
think he's
too.
better than that. I think he's better than that. But I just don't want him to turn.
Well, I don't know. I'm not that high on him. It's just that, he's a good defender. He might be the best defender in the draft, especially the
Yeah.
most versatile. Other than that, then
a lot of
yeah,
his
that'd be high
value
on him.
is betting on he develops the 3-point shot and he develops his game. And they put in a lot on that. Like if he's able to do that together with his level of defense, you're talking about another player. But that's a lot, So anyway, we out of here. Appreciate Sam for the show. I want to play our little commercial for those who may have missed it.
The second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now.
The link is in the description for those who haven't signed up. Any last words?
So it's a bit
Ronaldo Balkman. Yes, yes.
Ronaldo.
I think Sohan has a higher ceiling. I'm just saying. I hope he doesn't become a Ronaldo Balkman.
We picked him at number 8, right? Or something like that.
It was a
8 or 9.
Whatever it was nasty.
Oh, no.
Wherever it was.
I don't want to talk Knicks and bruises again.
That's right.
Right.
All of us got mad bruises.
And Isaiah had a
Yeah.
decent draft, you know what I mean? Draft record.
Yeah,
before
he
that.
did.
You got to throw that picture in your video. You got to add it.
Sad, man. Sad.
Oh man, there's a bunch of them I got to add. Jerome James.
Oh, no, they said he was picked in the 20s. They said he was picked
Oh,
in the
20s.
Okay.
Oh,
All
Lord.
right.
Well, yeah, Jerome James definitely needs to get added to the Knicks and Bruises.
I got a couple players. What? Chris Childs, Jerome James, Eddie
Chris
Perry.
Childs.
Chris Childs
You know
was
what's
solid.
crazy?
Oh, no?
He wasn't drafted by the Knicks.
And Childs had them hands. So
Hold on,
you know what I mean?
I understand.
You know what's
remember
crazy
the
now is,
contract we gave Chris Childs?
Oh, the contract. Okay, yeah.
Oh, the contract. Oh, okay.
Chris
He was
Childs
drafted
is
number 20,
now. It's funny. Chris Childs actually he be playing golf with me during the week.
Word?
He lives here in
That's
Jackson.
what's up.
Yeah.
Tell him to give us like a couple million back, because he's not even just playing. Yeah, but that was one of my gripes back to Jerome James, Chris Childs. There was a couple people that we gave contracts to just because they had, a very good postseason the year before or one good season. That's what we do as the Knicks. That's what we did.
I think Chris Childs paid his dues, man. He could have got a lot more money than it was, So I mean,
yeah, true.
He'll always be a Knick, man.
He didn't. He was on the bench though. That was like he signed that contract.
But
he couldn't even start.
No, but if he had a recent, I think Sim had put up. I think it was on Twitter. He had a recent article. You saw it, right?
Yeah, defending Tibbs and telling Knicks fans be patient.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Yeah, I think that's same recent one. But he actually
that's a lot back then.
Took less money, yo. You know what I mean? He could have got more money.
Okay.
Sim, if you're listening, put that link back in the chat for sure.
Sim always get me with that one, right? Remember the Alex Burks game he got me with? Like, yeah, Alex Burks, sorry. Sim pulled out the only good stat Alex Burks was good at all season.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he had 2 of them.
Yeah, it was like he was like
same
good,
day.
like top 10 in ball pressure, and the other one was like top 10 in like overall defensive something. I forgot.
Right.
I was like, well, damn, can't even get Alex Burks to hate off.
All right. We out of here. But I just pulled up the article.
Peace and love.
The top 5 worst signings of the Knicks, and at number 2 was Allen Houston. 6 years, 100 million.
I defend that contract.
I know.
I ain't gonna.
I can defend.
I like Allen Houston, but 100 million.
You can't foreshadow injury. And had he not gotten injured, it would have been a totally different story.
In Detroit, right?
And you look at what he did when he wasn't injured. You know what I mean? He got a monumental Knick moment. So, you know what I mean? Like,
But
it wasn't 100 million, but it was worth 100 million.
Didn't he have some knee injuries even before he signed the contract, or was it all after the contract?
No, it was before. I think it was in Detroit when that made most of the time that he was injured.
See, he had way more bad contracts than Allen Houston.
I agree.
Yo.
No. Chris Childs was 5, Andrew Lang was 4, Amari was 3, Allen Houston was 2, and Jerome James was 1. And he was just 5 years, 30 million. When we talk about him, I thought he got like 50, 60.
You got to think about back then. That was a lot, though.
Yeah, back then that was a lot.
Yeah, he was getting paid like All-Star centers was getting paid.
Yeah. For a single player